And good morning, Skalk van der Merwe. The date of this video is, of course, 13 October 2021. This is the promised follow-up video in English, following up from my Afrikaans video yesterday that went viral. Thank you so much for everybody that shared. I saw this morning that only on YouTube alone, it has been viewed more than 10,000 times. The video yesterday was a very simple one. I touched on quite a few subjects that has already been elaborated and discussed in previous videos of myself and Leonie, but let's recap so that those people who maybe missed those are also well versed in their rights. First off, the whole issue at this point in time, the burning issue, so-called mandatory vaccination in workplaces. Let's deal with that very quickly. In terms of the Labour Relations Act, Section 192(2), an employer may not dismiss you from your duties if he did not follow 1, a fair procedure, and 2, there must be a substantive ground. Fair procedure is very clearly embodied and written out for you in Schedule 8 to the Labour Relations Act. It's either dismissal based on misconduct, it's either one of Section 189 retrenchment, or lastly because of poor work performance or incapacity in your workplace. In other words, for the employer to just simply write you an email to say that by a certain date and a certain time you need to be vaccinated, and if you are not vaccinated, then you are dismissed from your duties, that constitutes in itself already an unfair dismissal. Unfair dismissal is referred to the CCMA. Very simple and very easy process. It was designed to be very simple and very easy. You do not even need a lawyer. You simply go to the CCMA physically and you ask for the forms, or you go online at the CCMA's website, very easy to find, www.ccma.org.za, and you download the form LRA 7.11, and you simply refer a case to CCMA. It's as simple as that. When your employer asks you for reasons why you are not going to vaccinate, it becomes a very easy thing to answer. You simply refer him to your rights in terms of the Constitution of South Africa. The Constitution is Act 108 of 1996, and you refer him specifically to your rights, your human rights as embodied and very clearly stippled out in Chapter 2 to this Constitution. You have absolute rights in terms of the Constitution, and therefore you do not have to vaccinate if it is your choice. That being said, if you indeed vaccinate, if that is your informed choice, then so be it. It's your choice. Nobody's going to interfere with that, but bear the consequences if they come up. Know that there are various consequences now very clearly crystallizing across the world, and especially in South Africa. I deal with many of these cases on a first-hand basis. It's called vax injuries. There's even deaths related to the vaccine, although formally it is denied that there has been any vax injuries or even vax deaths because of vaccination. That being said, I'm not here to discuss the science. I'm here to discuss the law aspects, the legal aspects, and therefore I will not delve into those. The second aspect, excuse me, relates to students. Students at this point in time seems to also now be faced with this thing of a COVID passport or COVID certificate, or whatever you want to call it, to attend classes, to go onto campus. Once again, it's an infringement of your basic human rights in terms of section of Chapter 2 of the Constitution of South Africa. Your recourse is also a very simple one. You go to the South African Human Rights Commission website. There is a place where you can lodge a complaint. You lodge a complaint against the university in question. I want you to do it on an individual basis so that we simply flood the legal departments of these universities. I think that's the best strategy at this point in time that we can follow. To go and apply for a court order now, it's going to be costly, it's going to take a huge amount of time, and that is simply not going to work. As to children in school, young minor children, especially those children under the age of 12, the parent and or legal guardian of those children has full right to deny and not to give consent to vaccination. That is absolute. If the parent did not give consent, no vaccination can take place, full stop. If the school indeed does that, or anybody else does that, it's a criminal offence, and please go to the local South African police services and lodge a complaint. As simple as that. Same goes for elderly people in old age homes, these days being bullied into vaccination, sometimes even vaccinated without them knowing what is going on, even knowing that they are being vaccinated. If that occurs, it is a very, very serious infringement on their human rights, and of course also criminal. Please go and lay a criminal charge. It's as simple as that. People, this thing of so-called forced mandatory vaccination in South Africa must stop. It must stop now. We are sitting in South Africa with laws that protect us. The United States, United Kingdom, Australia, many other places on earth do not have legislation that protects them. We do. We have the Constitution. It's a very strong Constitution. It's basically cast in stone. You're not going to overturn the Constitution by just simply writing something up in News 24 or listening to CNN, which people think they can actually do. A company cannot issue a law. I heard that Sanlam, Discovery, PSG, all these told their employees that they have now enacted a new law, and therefore they can do whatever they do. That's absolute nonsense. In actual fact, it's sedition if you challenge the authority of state. So please be very careful, Mr. Sanlam and Mr. Discovery and all those that run around with these stories. South Africa, very different from the rest of the world. We're sitting with a very strong constitution, very strong Charter of Human Rights, and very strong legislation relating to labor and dismissal in South Africa. You will not get around those things with so-called mandatory vaccination. Something the World Health Organization is running around with. They are definitely not the government of today. They are not the government of South Africa. They cannot be. The citizens of South Africa are very well protected, and I want you to stand on your rights. We are way past the issue of this being science and this being medicine. We are now dealing with a human rights crisis and a human rights infringement in South Africa, and you as citizens need to stop this. Whether you have been vaccinated or not vaccinated, we're not even speaking anti-vax. It's something totally different. We're speaking here of people being forced to take a vaccination that very clearly is ineffective or very less effective than anything else that has been used as vaccinations previously. And therefore, we need to stand on our rights and defend our rights to the end. Skol van Merwe signing off. I hope you have a tremendous day, and the fight will continue on all fronts.